I remember the poor Tet meal in my hometown nearly 20 years ago. Even though there were only a few pieces of meat, tofu, we still ate very deliciously. Now, thinking back, I both remember and miss it. The memory of that poor hometown meal has followed me through my childhood. Now I am nearly 30 years old. Life has changed rapidly, my family's economy has improved. However, that memory is still deeply engraved in my mind. I have celebrated Tet for 29 years, but perhaps the most memorable is the Tet when I was 10 years old. When there was only a week left until Tet, I eagerly waited for time to pass quickly so I could watch my neighbors wrap cakes, make jam. At that time, my mother was still busy with farm work. My hometown calls it the spring crop. At that time, in our minds, we only saw the bustling, joyful Tet, not knowing the worries and anxiety of our parents every time Tet approached. On the days before Tet, my father went to help clean up the Tet market for people. My mother made some extra beds of vegetables to earn some money. It was not until the 29th and 30th of Tet that my mother went to the Tet market. On the afternoon of the 30th, my family celebrated Tet with vermicelli with fish sauce and mustard greens. A little tofu and a little pig intestines given to my father by the neighbors. As for the meat, my father told us to save it for the first day of Tet to worship our ancestors before we could eat it. That was all it took for us to be very happy. The last meal of the year had enough vegetables, beans, and the warmth of my mother. During Tet, we no longer had to eat white rice with potatoes or sesame salt, but instead braised meat with tofu and eggs. Therefore, like many other children, I loved Tet very much. Because we could eat delicious food, go out, I grew up with such poor Tet meals. But back then, we still had our parents and siblings, so we were very happy. Now, nearly a few decades have passed, and my mother has passed away due to an incurable disease. Now, we are all more or less successful. We all have careers and create economic resources to support my father. For nearly 20 years, my father has not remarried because of his deep affection for my mother. Every time we come home for Tet, he makes a meal for my mother with her favorite dish, braised tofu and meat. Now, the family meal on Tet has enough pork, chicken, beef, vegetables. But it lacks something indescribable. Perhaps it is the taste of my mother. I miss the Tet of the past so much.